Our New Mexico Style Book Club continues as we showcase New Mexico author and poet laureate Hakim Bellamy, who has just released his first collection of poems titled Swear.
Right, and there it is. The collection addresses the issues that affect our daily lives, including politics, work, and art. And of course, Hakim is joining us this morning with more details.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Good morning.
It's
So
good
glad to have you back on here. Of course, this is the book. It's called Swear. Can you start by telling us how you kind of came up with the title and then a little more about the book?
Absolutely. So my dad and mom are both ministers.
Ah.
They weren't ministers when I grew up, but we went to church. We lived in the church.
Sure.
And when my
In
parents
Jersey.
in Jersey, and when my parents first saw me doing my poetry, they were like, "Oh, baby, you know, you're blessed and you're anointed, and this is the work God wants you to do. Right on." And they were like, "But do you have to curse so much?" So I named it Swear in dedication to my mother.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. Well, you know, I want to reference what the publisher says about you. I'm going to quote it, okay? The publisher says he moves from a free-thinking attitude of deliverance to a provocative new space. That's the quote. Can you explain that to us?
That's why you get a publisher, because they say immaculate things like that.
Right.
I was like, wow, that's good. I should read this guy's book. It's going to be awesome. No, I think what it kind of speaks to is that my entree to poetry was through hip hop. So, like many a hip hopper from my generation,
That's right.
It's very much like freestyle. It's free association. It's putting words together, and sometimes the meaning just naturally arises from the words when you pair them together in such a way, like unintended meanings. So as I evolved into a poet, and many of our best MCs and writers do the same thing, but I became more of an intentional meaning, and even a provocateur, like the word that they're using. And I think that's just my journalism background. Like, I choose to write about issues that are kind of sometimes not the happiest stuff.
But you do such a good job of weaving it all together. I remember for the centennial, you did a beautiful job of describing Albuquerque and New Mexico
Kristen
in
scouted
general.
me. That's how I ended up on New Mexico Style.
Well, you got to read an excerpt for us.
Okay,
Can we hear
for
it?
sure, yes.
All right.
Can I say hello to my son, because he's watching, and thank you to his mother for getting him up early to watch.
He's gorgeous,
as well.
by the way. I've seen many pictures.
I think I'm gonna start with a hip hop poem, because hip hop is like coffee in the morning.
Yes.
And this one's called Letter to Hip Hop 2.
Okay.
Dear hip hop, when no one listened to us, you spoke us. Like huffy bicycles and ET childhoods. Around blocks you'd ride us before tricked out cars and handlebars. You read us bedtime stories while our parents argued. Before you were profiled on America's Most Harmful, you were most wanted on our Christmas lists. The secret we shared with our best friends, going public when they branded you thuggish, but we still loved you. We recognized family members by iTunes playlists and Tim's. Different shades of kin, not so much recognized by our skin, but rather the songs that we sing. You might call them hymns, and we might call you the resurrection, eulogy to a life we once lived, the new career that didn't exist, more than a way to feed our kids. You are the borrowed wings that we've used to raise them, the heartbeats we gave them to play with, the sandbox we freestyled to William and Kate them, queens and Latin king them. As a parent in a broke beat generation, you taught us how to four-finger ring them. So we bring you this offering of thanks from your offspring who never made enough to afford you a respectable Father's Day gift. Instead, we learned to serve the community you left, our Juneteenth of breath. A bunch of poor kids from the wrong side of the Cross Bronx Expressway with nothing else to do but this.
You better be doing an audio to go along with this. And our viewers can meet you next month at a launch party and at a few readings. Tell us those details real quickly.
Sure, I had to take notes because I have no idea what's going on in my life most of the time. So April 17th at the UNM bookstore at noon, April 24th at 7 p.m. at Bookworks, who has my book stocked locally. Also UNM Press has it stocked locally. Mother's Day weekend, even though you should be out taking care of a mother near you, but if you don't have a mother near you, come to the Southwest Book Fiesta at the Albuquerque Convention Center, and there'll be a poet laureate panel there that I'll be part of as well.
So much.
We
Swear.
love you, Hakim.
Go get it.
Thank you so much. And don't go away, because still ahead in our second half hour of New Mexico Style, we're focusing on the challenges of international adoption and talking to a local family that has 9 kids, 5 of whom were adopted.
And personal chef Jen Laird is dishing up Easter pie.